So you just put that before.
Can you do it twice? I think it needs to be pretty. Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, this is the live section of the press conference, 15 minutes long, so just raise your hands and if you want to go first, and we're going to get around everyone within the 15 minutes if possible. So, who wants to go first? First question, please. Yeah, Gavin?
Yeah, Stephen, how are things? I'm going to start with the absentees, as we often do. James McCarthy isn't involved. Can you maybe explain why he's not involved given he's back?
Yeah, no, James hasn't been available to Celtic for the last week or 10 days.
Right.
You know, he's not involved tonight either. And he's just played 15 minutes. A very good conversation with James. So I think realistically, the October window is more realistic for James.
Yeah.
Gets games under his belt and he feels well again and ready to go.
And is it an injury issue, just to clarify, with Celtic?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And Darren Randolph is another high-profile name not involved. Can you talk us about your thought process there?
Yeah, listen, Darren has been a terrific goalkeeper for Ireland. Obviously, he's had a good started a good pre-season, then he got COVID, and it's interrupted his training, and he's back training now. But the other three goalkeepers have all been excellent at their games recently. So I'm very happy with their form, and they stay in the squad.
Yeah. Is the door closed for Darren?
Absolutely not. No.
And then just lastly for me, because you mentioned COVID, and I know it's in the news elsewhere, what level of vaccine coverage is in your squad? Like, have most of the players had a vaccine, or they still not had, or what's the situation there?
Yeah, well, obviously, a number of players have had vaccines, and some haven't. Some have had one. In England, the AstraZeneca vaccine has quite a long period between the first and the second. So a couple of players have been caught with the first one, and some players have decided not to get it. So that's where it is.
And those who have not decided to get it, have you been talking to them about it? Have you been encouraging them to get it? Given, like, for example, if they're vaccinated, they wouldn't have to isolate as a close contact, for instance. What are you okay with?
Yeah, and that has happened with a player, for example, who had one vaccine and hadn't got the second one, and wouldn't have to isolate. But that's the situation that we are. Like, ideally, we'd want everyone vaccinated, but players are men as individuals, and they have the right to make their own decisions, and you have to respect that as well. And so, in an ideal world, we would prefer to have everyone vaccinated, and that wouldn't be an issue. But you have to respect the individual wishes.
Thank you.
Next question. Aidan?
Again, just on COVID, Stephen seems he can't escape it. Is COVID the reason why Alan Brown isn't involved? Alan
is a close contact, so he hasn't been involved with Preston, but he also has an injury, glute injury. So we're not ruling out the possibility that Alan and Callum could be involved for the second and third games. So we're exploring that and seeing how that goes.
Just on Callum, the fact that he's the second time obviously is just unfortunate, but is that frustration that once again you're denied access to a player because he's contracted it?
Listen, Callum's had a terrific start to the season. Like, I've been at a couple of his games, I've seen him score. In the Hawthorns last week, I've seen him in the opening game of the season against Bournemouth. West Brom have had a flying start himself, and Daryl Shea. Initially, he missed part of the camp, very unlucky. He was a close contact, and then he got COVID ahead of the November camp. So the fact that you get it twice is incredibly unlucky, and just very unfortunate.
Is there something you need again and your staff maybe talk to players about how to avoid that? Obviously, people in life, they're professional footballers, and any profession you can contract it, but is there something that you and your staff can speak with players about?
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Alan Bourne is head of our medical department. He's the medical director of the FAI, and he's in contact with the players on a regular basis, and it's something, and the medical team for sure, and in contact with clubs. throughout England and so forth. So that's that's where we are.
Stephen?
So good to.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey Stephen, just ask about Gavin Bazunu first. His loan move to Portsmouth seems to be working out fantastic. 3 clean sheets. That must give you a bit of confidence going into these games.
Yeah, Gavin has been really impressive now. I mean, he got his opportunity in March probably because Darren Randolph had been injured, Queven Keller had been injured, and he came in and such a young keeper, his first time in the squad, and he did really well. And been very good in the 3 internationals he's played, and as you say, he's gone to Portsmouth and kept 3 clean sheets. So confidence is high for him, and you know that's a good sign.
Daryl Shea, the other man at West Brom, has been playing very well this season as well. He's got 2 goals, not bad for centre back. How do you think his mindset has changed now coming into this camp when he's in a team that's really fighting at the top of the table rather than fighting relegation last season?
Well, I think Dara, one thing about Dara is very level-headed, and I think he doesn't fluctuate in terms of his form or his emotions. And you know, I think even when they were struggling last year, West Brom, at the wrong end of the table, he was still performing to a good level. And now he's just, every day you know what you get with Dara. He's just very consistent every day in training. He's focused, he's professional, he's got a good mentality, and he's brought that into his training every single day. And successive managers have seen that. So it's his 3rd manager at West Brom, and they've all selected him, and he's just been very consistent. And I think so. I was there. I was at the game. He scored against Sheffield United last week, and it was great to see it. And you know, he started the season well.
You might have to get some of your long throws.
But he has one himself, by the way. Yeah, he has one himself.
Just we know you're at Brighton as well. What have you made of Shane Duffy's turnaround? There seemed to be a perception of Shane Duffy that he wouldn't fit into this Brighton team because he's not a ball-playing centre-back. Well, he seems to be kind of making nonsense of all that over the last couple of weeks.
Well, it is a challenge for him because he was a very consistent player for Brighton for quite a few seasons, and there's an evolution of the style there, and certainly he has to adapt. And I think he really likes being at Brighton Football Club. He's been there quite a while, and he feels at home there. He's gone and done pre-season, had a good pre-season, played in every game, taken that form into the league, and started the first 2 games. And you're right, I've seen him beat Watford last week, and he scored a good goal. And you know, it's always an additional bonus with Shane that he gives value with goals also. So you know, fair play to him.
His teammate Aaron Conley has been struggling on that front since bursting on the scene in that game against Tottenham. He had a great chance at the weekend, which he didn't score. His manager said back in April that he's a little bit too self-critical. Is that something you find with Aaron Conley? Is that his problem?
Well, I think you know he did burst on the scene with 2 goals against Tottenham, and they're very well taken goals. He couldn't score for a while after that, and then he beat himself up by the fact that he couldn't score. But that's par for the course with a young striker. I think last week, you know, it was good to see it live because he played very well in the game. It was a really good display. He came on at half time. Mbappe got injured, and he made a lot of very good runs. And you know, he certainly played a contribution in the victory for sure.
Can you or your coaching staff, do you think, help him on that front, try and get him hitting the back of the net again?
You know, I think he's working hard every day, and he scored in pre-season, and he was unfortunate that wasn't one chance. He did very well. He was just so unfortunate that didn't go in, and you know, he moved his feet really quickly, struck it too well, and just so I've no doubt that he's well capable of scoring goals there.
And just finally, the Portugal game unusually down in the south of the country. Most of the football in Portugal happens up north. Is that something you think was deliberate, and they want to kind of get Ireland down into the south of the country in hot temperatures, and maybe give themselves an advantage in that sense?
Yeah, it's something that I hadn't considered, to be honest. I don't think that is the case. Obviously, there are other reasons. I would say it's been, you know, I don't think they're trying to have a competitive advantage over us. I think they you know, they are the previous European champions, and obviously Portugal are the Nations League holders, and they've been very consistent over the last number of years. They've got a quality team, and it's a big challenge for us, and one that we should embrace and should look forward to going to Portugal. It's a great game for the players. We should really, really be excited about it, and you know, we're looking forward to that.
Stephen, are you feeling any pressure? I mean, I'm sure that thought probably hasn't passed you by just how important these games are, and to, you know, start picking up results in this campaign.
Well, I think, listen, we've 9 points to play for this week. It's a tough week, 3 games in 6 days. We've got Portugal, we've got Azerbaijan, and we've got Serbia. And the great thing is, from our point of view, like, we've given a whole team of players their competitive international debut, you know, and 11 players, you know, their competitive international debut, and they played in front of it, you know, an empty stadium. When players dream about making an international debut, they dream about walking out into a passionate crowd and being inspired to play for their country and fulfil their potential doing that. And so that, you know, that's a great thing to do now. Yeah, it's not a full house against Azerbaijan and Serbia, but it's 28,000 or thereabouts, and it'll be special for the players and for everyone involved. And we want to try and get the best return out of 3 matches that we possibly can in the week.
What have your main sort of takeaways or reflections been since the last international window?
Since the last international window, well, obviously it was good for the players to get their first goals. To score 4 goals in international is a positive. I think the game against Hungary was an interesting game for us, and we learned a lot from it. And it was a competitive game. They were going to the Euros. They were, you know, the crowd in at the game because they were buoyant, because obviously they had the Euros in Hungary, and they were, you know, so we performed reasonably well in that game, and so we learned quite a few things from it.
I know everything is sort of one game focused with sport these days, but I mean, is it realistic after the next 3 games to think at the end of it that we're going to be in a fairly decent position after?
Well, we want to focus on Portugal first of all, and then we've got the 2 home games. So, you know, we've not started well. Although with the exceptional performance in Serbia, can weigh empty-handed, and what we want to do is put in a strong performance against Portugal, and certainly take that into the 2 home games. We're excited about the 2 home games as well. It'd be amazing for everyone to experience that, playing in front of the support, the Irish support. You are, you know, I'm sure you're really passionate to Viva Stadium, and they'll want to get behind the players. The supporters will want to get behind the players, and that'll be special.
2 minutes left. Is there any further questions from someone who hasn't asked anything?
Yeah. Stephen, just recently, obviously, Zach Elbazetti's moved to Sweden. Have you been impressed with his form, and was he far away from getting into your final squad?
Yeah, obviously I'm well aware of Zach. Like, you know, I've capped him at under 21 level for a number of games. He was, played well in our campaign, the under 21 campaign. He was excellent. For whatever reason, his move to England didn't work for him. He's gone to Sweden, and we're monitoring his progress. And he's only played a handful of games since he's gone there. So, you know, hopefully that can be a good move for him, and we can see how he does. He's in the conversation, but so there are other players as well.
Yeah, just in midfield then, we've got a few players that aren't getting into the squad. Would you be hopeful that maybe they can get a move away just before the end of the transfer window?
Yeah, some of them are looking to get moves this week, and that will be a factor. You know, at least 3 players could move this week, and so we'll have to see how that goes. I think you're right. A couple of players haven't been getting football. Harry Arter, for example, he's been playing under 23s matches. He's due to play one tomorrow for Nottingham Forest, and it's not ideal. And I suppose he is a natural, the way his career has evolved, he's a natural defensive midfield player. So he's different than the others, so he can play that holding position, and so that's his attitude's been great. Trained well in our camp in June, and he comes into the squad for that reason. Jason Malumbi obviously at Brighton. You know, we'll follow his progress this week and see how it goes.
Alright, thank you.
One concerning and one concerning.
Yeah, I meant to ask you, Stephen, was Robbie Brady in your thoughts at all? Because he is training here under your trainer, and I mean, because of his experience and his ability, did you consider?
I'm a massive fan of Robbie Brady. You know, rating very highly. You know, he's been in all my squads. He just obviously had an Achilles injury that he needs to get sorted out. He's got it sorted out. He's back training, back, and he just, you know, I'm sure you know, maybe October's more realistic for him. Just getting in and signing for the club and getting fixed up and getting some matches under his belt, and you know, he's still so young, Robbie, and he's got so much football left in him. He's such a talent. You know, it's only a few years ago where he's probably our most talented player in the country, and he's well capable of rediscovering some of that form. And you know, we'd love him back in the squad.
Would it have been a help for him to be even among the squad, though, for even his fitness? Would you consider him joining up, like, when you come back to Dublin?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You know, we'll see.
And it may have been asked earlier, I didn't ask you about Kieran Clark. Is he in your thoughts still, or?
Yeah, very much so. Like, listen, I think Daryl Shea, very consistent. Shane Duffy's come in and done well. John Egan has done well. So just the profile, and the other two players, like, I was at the game last night. Nate Collins was excellent last night for Bournemouth. Really impressive performance. So it's that's the decision that we've made.
Just on, there's not really Ireland players involved, Stephen. Is there any logistical reasons for that, or what was your thinking about that?
No, I think like Liam Scales is sort of next one in on the left side. James Mclean and Ryan Manning obviously have played a lot of games in that position. Liam, it's a new position for Liam. Left wing back, he's always been a left centre back, and I played him left back in fact against Italy with the under-21s. He played that game, and even at that time, that was so he's really developed at Shamrock Rovers very well this year and scored some very good goals. So he's probably next one in relation to that position at the moment. And with James, and obviously Ryan Manning's done very well for Swansea. You know, in that position, has played it for a couple of years now. It's a relatively new position for Liam. Michael Duffy, the other one, was pushing strong at the felt, and was very close to the squad, and could still feature over the 3 games depending on how it goes.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you very much.